Hi there, welcome to the final episode of the Bonsai Stuff podcast for 2025. Scott Martin from Bonsai Matsu. I love your company, thank you very much. This is episode 51, the final episode for the year. That means there was almost one episode every week for the whole year. Amazing. Anyway, it's been a great year. I've loved it. I've been all over the place. I've done lots of things. I've been from Milan in Italy to Christchurch in New Zealand, up to Port Macquarie, everywhere in between, over Adelaide. I've installed watering systems. I've installed bonsai display podiums. I've done more workshops than you can poke a stick at, and I've worked on countless bonsai this year, and it has been absolutely fantastic. I've loved every single second of bonsai life this year. It's been absolutely brilliant. And for this episode of the podcast, as is always, I look to do a yearly wrap up, a review. Start of the year, I like to set some goals for myself, some targets, and at the end of the year, I like to sit back and just have a think about how I went. So I spent the last bit of time thinking, okay, well, what plans did I have? What were they? And how did I go for them? And then after this, in the next little bit, before the podcast comes back after a short Christmas interval, then I can think about, okay, what are my plans going to be for the following year? It's always nice for me to have a target, have a goal, have something to work towards. So my plans were this year that I wanted to, if I change my mindset and my involvement with things. So it was, number one, if I don't enjoy it, don't do it. Number two, make small improvements on all of my bonsai, which I know was a massive ask. And it's easy for me to turn around and go, yeah, all good, done, tick the box. Yep, no worries, they won't know, but I'll be honest with you, I'll run through that a little bit later. And the last one was to be positive, which is probably the most important thing that I find in my life. But anyway, let's go through those three steps of my plan, and I'll give you my honest review. All right, so number one was, if I don't enjoy it, don't do it. It's pretty simple. But, sometimes in life we all have to do things that we possibly don't enjoy. But, hand on heart, I can honestly reassure you I've loved every second of bonsai this year. Absolutely loved it. And the people I meet, I know it's a cheap, easy thing to throw out there and say, oh, bonsai people are good people. But I can tell you that I don't know how many people I've met now. It's a lot. It's a hell of a lot, And when I revisit places, pop my head in, I'll see a familiar face and I'll say, we've met, haven't we? And it's like, yeah, we did this, 3 years ago. Well, I caught up with you at such and such. It's like, it's so good. So nice for people to come and say hello and to reconnect and talk bonsai and just I don't know, like-minded people. And it's I've said it so many times that, we all have these different backgrounds. We all come from completely different, in our working lives, our private lives, where we'd never cross paths. We would never, you would never bump into, there would never be a reason for me to come across 95% of the people that I've met. And yet bonsai brings all of us together. We're all so very different, and we all have different opinions about so many different things, and we live different lives, and we work in different environments. Now, I've gone from an environment where suits used to be the go and ties back in the day, to now I'm putting on a pair of shorts and work boots to go and do my job. So it's funny that my life has changed, but the people I come across, they're brain surgeons, heart surgeons, they're plumbers, they're tradesmen, they're tradies. They do so many. They're teachers. They're whatever. There's just so many different sources of lifestyle that people come from. But when you put them in a room together, and all that the periphery sort of fades away, I find that everyone's exactly the same. Everyone loves these little trees in pots. We're obsessed with them. Which is rightly so. We should be too. They've got a lot going for them, but it's that draw towards the nature side of things. And I tell the story quite a lot, especially to, at the moment I'm talking to one of my daughters about it, and we talk about stress and high pressure jobs and all that sort of stuff. And I reflect back on when I first got into bonsai, and it was all about a stress relief and that change of mindset to stop thinking about whatever it is that was chewing up my mental capacity, to think about something completely different. And at the start it was like a hobby. It was very light on, and then the obsession grows, and you go down the rabbit hole, and you can't get out. And for me, it felt like not only did it lift weights off my shoulders, but it turned me into a better person and made me a happier person, well and truly, to my core, right through. And I got to do, there's so much to it. There's the learning side, which I love learning things. I love being hands-on. I love knowing how things tick and getting my hands dirty in the garden. As I'm sitting here, I'm looking at my fingernails from weeding, and they're black. But anyway, I just love it, and I love knickknacks. I love the intricacy of different tools, and working out, so what does that one do, and how does this work, and getting into the fine details of things like tying trees into pots, and the delicacy of wiring and shaping, and then suddenly, for me, it's, if you listen to the podcast, it's been a journey. It's been a progression, going from one point to learn as much as I could and developing skill set. And I found that the more I got into it, the more I learned, the more I loved it. So it's this compounding scenario for me where one step led to two, led to four, led to 1,000, led to a complete change of life for me. That I get to, I'm so fortunate that I get to work with people in bonsai as a career, as a profession, as a bonsai professional, which I shied away from that word for a lot of years. I've been doing Bonsai Matsu now for, God, I don't know, long time. I think it's 15 odd years it's been running for, and full-time professional now for 3.5 years or something like that. And I always shied away from that word, a bonsai artist or bonsai professional. But I accept it now. That's what I do. I do put myself in a category where I put myself up as someone that you can ask an opinion of, and I can help you with it. It's like if you get a leak in a pipe, you call a plumber. Or if you get a bonsai problem, you call a bonsai professional. And I think I don't say that trying to be funny or anything, but I think that I do put myself up there and say, well, you've got a responsibility. I've got a responsibility to act as a professional, to do things professionally, not be half-assed about it and chop and change and be flippant, but it's a responsibility that I take on. Anyway, I'm getting completely off for a change. I'm getting off topic here, but if I don't do it, if I don't enjoy it, then don't do it. I've done that. I've got off numerous Facebook sites or social media sites. I shouldn't just say Facebook, but I got off lots of stuff because the negativity and all the rubbish that goes with it. It's just like, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in keyboard warriors. I'm not interested, and they're not going to affect anything that happens in my life. If I've always been taught, if you got nothing nice to say, then how about you say nothing at all? Or look for a way to improve it rather than knocking it down. It's so easy to be negative about stuff. It's so easy to look down your snout and, you should have, you're an idiot, whatever. It's like, how about you? Okay, so let's make this a learning experience. And how do you build up? How do you go from that point to next time that doesn't happen, or there's a less likely chance of that happening because of whatever? There's always a silver lining. There's always a nice way to look at things. So I can give myself a 10 out of 10 gold star for the effort of making sure that I enjoy what I do, and I love it, and nothing's going to change. That's my motto now for a lot of things in life, just to make sure that if I'm not enjoying it, I just don't do it. and if I do enjoy it, just do more of it. It's not that complex. All right, next one. Small improvements in all my bonsai. All right, yes, I'm a bonsai professional. Woohoo! I can tell you that everything went fantastic this year. There was not one issue, not one piece of dieback, not one leaf fell off a tree. That's crap. It's not true. Having that target that I know is almost impossible to achieve, I worked very hard for it. Did 99% of my trees make a small improvement? Yeah, they did. But there was 1% though, maybe a bit more than 1%, where I was disappointed. And it's stuff that's outside my control. I accept that. There's a lot that happens with our living form of art that is so far out of our control. We can do, and this is for everybody that does bonsai, whether you listen to the podcast now or sometime in the future. Don't be too hard on yourself. There's so much that we can do to create the perfect environment. We can stuff it up. We can miss that important watering. We can miss feeding our trees. We can miss looking for pests. We can, not pull weeds. We can, do lots of things, not tie them in their pot properly. We can not do the maintenance when it's required. Sure, that's all on us, but there's a lot out there. Being a living being, there is so much that's outside of our control that we take responsibility for, but we can't fix it. We can do our best. We can try our hardest, but there's some things that we can't do. For me, I'm happy with improvements that I made to taper and ramification, and overall I give myself a really good score. Like it'd be something like around about 8 out of 10. Somewhere around 8 to 9 out of 10. A lot of trees I'm really happy with. I look at them and go, that's fantastic, that's brilliant. I love this one. That's done exactly what I expected. It's done the back budding. It's I've worked on the bud conveyor. I've made sure if something's too thick, I've removed it and I've gone back to lighter growth. It looks really good. But there's been setbacks with some die-off on developing branches. A little one that comes to mind is a little Scots pine that I'm working on. Really nice. It's been repotted. It's had lots of work done on it. It's been thinned out. It's quite a dense little tree, as they are. But one of the key branches has died off, and I've looked at it and I didn't wire that branch. I can't work out what I've done. Did I knock it? No, there's no damaged needles. So I've done the full post setback review on this tree. It's like I can't work out anything that I've done. There was not significant drastic root removal. Has it been fed? Yeah, it has. Is it in good medium? Yeah, it's in good medium. Was it getting enough water? Is everything okay? Is the growth good? Yep. Right, so what's caused it? I don't know. I really don't know. There's no cracks in the branch. There's no fungal issues. There's no pest issues. Just happened out of the blue. It's like, okay, well, so rather than dwelling on it, if there's something that I'd done wrong, then sure, it'd be put into the, don't do again list and how do I take a step forward for this? And has any other trees in my collection been affected by my lack of action? But with this one, it was like, okay, well, you've got a clean bill of health and you've done everything right, but it still happened. So it's like, oh, that's nice. That's actually a really nice reminder to me to say, well, there's stuff that's outside our control. There are things that happen with living beings that we can't overcome, that we can't change. And to get down in the dumps about it, yeah, sure, I was a bit disappointed because it's like key branch. It's like, oh, God. But the scheme of things, as I say, a year in the life of this bonsai that's potentially going to live forever, or a very long time anyway, it's nothing. It's a blip. It's a dot. At the time, it seems significant, but in 20 years' time, I'm going to look back at that tree and go, I don't even remember that branch. The tree has moved on. I can work, I can develop, I can plan, I can take that setback and put it compartmentalize it and lock it away, and then move on to what's the next step for that tree. I'm not going to throw it into the bin and go, well, it's lost its key branch, that's useless now, that's no good to me. It's like, okay, well, how does the plan have to change? What do I have to do now to change that going forward? So, it's what I'm going to talk about after the break, that being positive. And even though I've had a setback and I was annoyed about it, it's still something that I can move forward from. But I walked through my collection the other day, and I without a joke, without a word of a lie, I sit there with a mental notepad in my head going, does that tree look better? Yes. Okay. Does that one? Yes. Does that one? It looks very similar. All right. So then I start knuckling down. All right. So how's the taper on the tree? How's this? How's that? Has it taken a step forward with its ramification? I go, yeah, it has. Actually, the ramification's improved. So it's nicer silhouette. So yes, that has improved. All right. So go to the next tree. That one, has it developed? Has it grown? Has it put on new growth? It's just a stick in a pot at this stage, but is the trunk movement, is step one, developing the trunk and nabari, has that happened? Yes, it has. All right, well, tick the box, move on to the next one. So there's a lot for me to be happy with the small improvements for the bonsai in my collection. Like I said, it'd be a high score out of 10 for what I've done with myself, but there's things that have gone wrong. I can honestly say that there hasn't been one time throughout the year that I've missed watering where I've paid the price for something. There hasn't been a tree that I've thought, not being repotted is going to cause drastic problems. There's a few that are close that I've flagged, but overall it's pretty good. Like I said, I'm pretty positive that I can tick that box and say, you know what, of that plan of mine for last year, small improvements in all the bonsai, very close to being achieved. One of the things I do when I'm doing this wrap-up podcast for the year, and I actually really enjoy this part, is I sit down and I go through my calendar for the last year. It's like, okay, well, the year's gone in the, I was going to say the blink of an eye, but it's been a lot of work this year. There's been a lot going on, lots of travel with bonsai and personally as well, lots of good for the soul moments when I look back through. But going through the calendar, I can see all the different things that I've done, all the different workshops that I've run, and look, honestly, there's over 50 workshops this year. I can see the courses that I've run. I can see the number of beginners that have come through the place. I can see the private stuff that I've done with people. I can see where I've done my weekend intensives. And there's, where I've travelled, like I said earlier, from, Milan to Christchurch overseas, which I love my time in New Zealand. I love the people. And I love these, I talk about it all the time, but the connectivity between people and me that I meet across the way, and how they stay in touch with me and send me messages and update photos and oh God, the well wishes. Thank you so much to everybody that's sent me something nice throughout the year. It honestly, and the I was going to say this for the last part of the podcast, but the well wishes about this podcast and its reach is amazing. It's humbling, to be honest, that so many people listen to it. The numbers are ridiculous for the podcast, and the fact that it puts a smile on so many people's faces, and hopefully, from what I hear, helps you or provides inspiration or helps you work through your trees, and having a relationship, like listening to me weekly or thereabouts, whatever it is, makes you feel closer to me, and I feel definitely closer to you when you reach out to me. I feel like we've got, that mate's relationship, and you can ask me anything. It's not judgmental. It's always seen with what my number 3 was in my plan for the year, with being positive, and I take that extremely seriously, and I see no reason to ever be anything but positive when it comes to anything bonsai people, or anything about potential bonsai. We're all tree lovers. We're all bonsai lovers. So when you get asked, this will happen to you too. Like if you've done bonsai for more than about 10 minutes, you'll find someone that'll come up to you and say, I've always loved bonsai. I've always wanted to do bonsai. Oh, how do you do it? Is it easy? I had a bonsai once and it died. I hear the stories all the time about, someone talking to someone or someone asking me and, what's it like? Is it easy? Be positive. Don't give them I had this tree and it died. Give them it's great. I love it. I love it when I can sit down with my tree on the weekend or after work, and I can work my way through it and tell them about how you feel, about what it does to your soul, to your core, to know that you're not only working on the artwork, that side of it, part of your brain that fires up when you're thinking about design work and the future of the tree, and you're planning for 10, 15 years into the future with something, which is really nice to have that on the table, and it's all in your control, pretty much. But you can set plans for this tree, and it's all based on what you think and what you want to do with it. It's not based on anyone else coming in over the top and saying, oh, no, don't do it like that, do it like this. But be positive with the people that come to you and ask about bonsai, and don't give them the nitty gritty. Don't give them the dirty hard part. Don't give them the fact that with a tree maybe you just sit there and look at it get shaggy for 6 months of the year before you get back into it. Give them the positive stuff. Give them the good stuff. And spread the love. Spread the good word. Make sure that when you're involved in anything in an online form or a text message or whatever it is, whenever you're asked your opinion, or you're in a club environment, or you're just sitting around having bacon and egg for Sunday breakfast with your friends, and you get asked, don't be negative. There's too much negativity around the place, and I think that being tree lovers, we're built differently, as I said at the start, and I've said many times, no matter what background we've got, where we come from, what we do. Bust it all down, put us in the room together, all the titles, all the background, all the history, it all just disappears, and we all just become people that love the trees in one shape or another. We have very different opinions on what they should look like, and that can cause heated debate, and that's fantastic. I love it. I absolutely love it. As I've said for a very long time now, we're only constrained by horticultural requirements of the trees. The artistic side, that's a piece of us on a blank canvas that we build, that we make, that we develop, that we love. And not everyone has to look at it and go, well, I love that design. But I can guarantee you that everyone that looks at your tree loves the tree itself. Tree lovers love trees, no matter what they look like. Some we spend more time with, others we don't. But all in all, it's definitely something that we can be positive with and enjoy spending time. So there's always steps forward, no matter what your circumstances are. You may have had a tree not make it through 2025. You may have had setbacks like me, key branches, whatever, but there's always steps forward. There's always a way to see the glass is half full rather than half empty. There's something you can take from any situation. There is always hope for trees that you've got in your collection, or potential, or that you're thinking about digging up, or whatever it is. Collecting from your garden. It might be that you want to plant a seed in 2026. That could be one of your goals coming up, and that's the next podcast. But there's always hope. There's always something that we can turn around. We can change. We can redesign. We can rebuild. We can start from scratch. We can always improve and do better. So I don't think that I can give myself anything but a 10 about being positive, because I love it. I love trees, and even the most difficult ones. There's nothing to be anything but positive for me anyway. And folks, just like that, 2025 is done. It's finished. It's over. I'd put a bow on it and say thank you very much. Some people put it in a box, bury it in the backyard, and say see you later. But for me, like I said, it's been a brilliant year. I've loved every single second of it. I've loved every second of this podcast, to be honest. I've loved the work that I put into it, the planning process, and it's I was going to say it's therapy for me. It's not therapy for me. It's a really nice way for me to reach out and stay in touch and connect with people all around the world, and really it's like there's a glow I feel around the place about the Bonsai Stuff podcast and how well it's received. There's lots of bonsai podcasts out there. I try and keep mine to be as it was originally intended, which is a source for every bonsai lover out there. It's to, as I said, be positive. It's to provide information, to provide help, and not to focus on, interviewing people and me talking to other people, but to provide my 2 cents worth and use that in a way that I hope can be helped and can be used by anybody and everybody that listens to it in some shape or another. Yeah, there'll be episodes you listen to and go, yeah, I'm not interested in that. I'm past that. But there'll be other ones hopefully that listen to that go, you know what, that's great. I enjoy that. For me, it's about providing a spring in your step. It's about making sure that when you see your trees, you've got a smile on your face and that you put the time into them that they deserve, and that you and your trees can take a step forward no matter what level you're at, whether you're picking up your scissors for the first time or you've done it till your last breath. It makes no difference. That joy, that love, that passion, that's the goal of this podcast, is to make sure that everybody that listens to it can sooner or later take something out of it. And if you get nothing out of the podcast, it's just nice hearing someone talk positively about bonsai. And it's from Australia. It's designed, built, and manufactured right here in Melbourne, Victoria, Australia. But it's for everyone in Australia, no matter where you are around the country or wherever you are around the globe too. In the right season, it should hopefully provide some kind of an insight and something to you. So enjoy the final days of 2025, and I honestly hope and pray that, I don't know why I said pray, but I hope that 2026 is your best bonsai year yet. Every year with your trees should get better. So it's time for some thank yous now for me for the final part of the podcast. Thank you goes out to my bonsai network, my bonsai mates, people that I chat with on a regular basis, and we feed ideas of each other. I strongly encourage you. There's an episode a long time ago about the bonsai network. Build one for yourself. It's great. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely something that you can get a lot out of. Thank you to every listener. As I said, the podcast numbers are just crazy. When you're listening to this podcast, the Bonsai Stuff podcast will have been downloaded 250,000 times, which blows my mind completely. And that's from all over the globe. So everyone who's ever listened to the podcast, it's as I said before, it's very humbling, and thank you very much. I want to also say a big thank you to everyone that's had the courage to reach out and ask me a question. I know it's tough. I know it's something that I would never do. I would internalize, and I would hang on to it, and I would maybe sneak out a question here or there in a roundabout fashion, maybe in a group environment. But having the courage to reach out and send photos and say, hey, can you help? What's wrong? Thank you. Thank you for trusting me. And, I don't expect anybody to follow everything that I offer. I'm not putting myself on that kind of a pedestal. What I do expect, though, is it becomes part of the mix for you to make your own decision, and I may have no experience in your climate where you are, and things may need to be very different based on your knowledge, but I can certainly offer an opinion which hopefully doesn't muddy the water. Hopefully it helps clarify and maybe confirm what you were thinking anyway. But thank you for having the courage to reach out to me. I want to say a massive thank you to anyone who's ever sent me a message saying thank you and keep up the good work with the podcast, because there are times where you look at it, and any time you're doing something in this sort of format that's a one-way feed, you can sit there and think, geez, I'm not sure this is right. I'm not sure it's getting through. It's a lot of work. Is it worth it? Is all that stuff goes through your head, and all of a sudden you'll get a message from someone saying, you know what, thank you very much. Well, I can tell you that they mean a lot to me, every single one of them. I don't take them for granted. I use them as inspiration to get my pen and paper out and my notebook and start making notes and planning for the next series of podcasts and to keep this thing rolling down the direction that it's been going, because it's well received. So thank you very much. And finally, thank you to subscribers, the people that actually fund this podcast. You are legends. Yeah, every single one of you. And everyone that listens to the podcast, you should give a clap to the subscribers too, because they're the ones that keep this thing on air and funded and whatever. So thank you very much. And I do look through the list of subscribers on a very regular basis, and I send you my own in through my head. Thank you very much. So it's it's done. That's 2025 done, and 2026 is on the table now for me. So the next podcast that you hear will be me coming forward with my plan for next year and what I'd like to do and what I'd like to achieve, and verbalising it so I can put it on the agenda to make it happen. It's time for a few weeks break for me now, and then I'm going to fire up again for 2026, and I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, this year's been fantastic. This year's been brilliant, and next year is going to be even better. There's lots of trips planned around the country to see all these bonsai lovers, which I am super pumped and excited for. So I can't wait. All right, that's it. We're done. Happy New Year, everybody, and I will see you the other side. Until then, as always, happy bonsai.